On August 5, 1926, while traveling in the Humboldt Mountains of Tibet's Kokonor region, Russian explorer Nicholas Roerich reported that members of his expedition saw something big and shiny reflecting the sun like a huge oval moving at great speed. Crossing our camp, the thing changed in its direction from south to southwest, and we saw how it disappeared in the intense blue sky. We even had time to take our field glasses and saw quite distinctly an oval form with shiny surface, one side of which was brilliant from the sun. Another description by Roerich was of a shiny body flying from north to south. Field glasses are in hand. It is a huge body. One side glows in the sun. It is oval in shape. Then it somehow turns in another direction and disappears in the southwest. In the Pacific and European theaters during World War II, Foo fighters, metallic spheres, balls of light, and other shapes that followed aircraft were reported and on occasion photographed by Allied and Axis pilots. Some proposed Allied explanations at the time included St. Elmo's fire, the planet Venus, hallucinations from oxygen deprivation, or German secret weapons. In 1946, more than 2,000 reports were collected, primarily by the Swedish military, of unidentified aerial objects over the Scandinavian nations, along with isolated reports from France, Portugal, Italy, and Greece. The objects were referred to as Russian hail and later as ghost rockets because it was thought the mysterious objects were possibly Russian tests of captured German V-1 or V-2 rockets. Although most were thought to be such natural phenomena as meteors, more than 200 were tracked on radar by the Swedish military and deemed to be real physical objects. In the 1948 top secret document, Swedish authorities advised the USAF Europe that some of their investigators believed these crafts to be extraterrestrial in origin. March 2021, news media announced a comprehensive report to be compiled of UFO objects accumulated by the United States over the years. Investigations. UFOs have been subject to investigations over the years that varied widely in scope and scientific rigor. Governments or independent academics in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Japan, Peru, France, Belgium, Sweden, Brazil, Chile, Uruguay, Mexico, Spain, and the Soviet Union are known to have investigated UFO reports at various times. Among the best-known government studies are the ghost rockets investigated by the Swedish military 46 to 47, Project Blue Book, previously Project Sign, and Project Gruden, conducted by the USAF from 1947 until 1969. The secret U.S. Army Air Force Project Twinkle investigation into green fireballs, 1948 to 51. The secret USAF Project Blue Book Special Reports, number 14, by the Battelle Memorial Institute, and the Brazilian Air Force's 1977 Operação Prato, Operation Saucer. France has had an ongoing investigation within its space agency, Centre National d'Études Spatiales, since 1977. The government of Uruguay has had a similar investigation since 1989. Project Sign, main article, Project Sign. Project Sign in 1948 produced a highly classified finding, estimate of the situation, see that some UFO reports probably had an extraterrestrial explanation. Project Sign's final report, published in early 49, stated that while some UFOs appeared to present actual aircraft, there was not enough data to determine their origin. Project Grudge. Main article, Project Grudge. Project Sign was dismantled and became Project Grudge at the end of 1948. Angered by the low quality of investigations by Grudge, the Air Force Director of Intelligence reorganized it as Project Blue Book late 1951, placing Ruppelt in charge. Blue Book closed down in 1970 using the Condon Committee's negative conclusion as a rationale, thus ending official Air Force UFO investigations. However, a 1969 U.S. Air Force document known as the Bollinger Memo, along with later government documents, revealed that non-public U.S. government UFO investigations continued after 1970. The Bollinger Memo first stated that reports of unidentified flying objects that could affect national security are not part of the Blue Book system, indicating that more serious UFO incidents already were handled outside the public Blue Book investigation. The memo then added, reports of UFOs which could affect national security would continue to be handled through the standard Air Force procedures designed for this purpose. In addition, in the late 1960s, a chapter on UFOs in the Space Sciences course at the U.S. Air Force Academy gave serious consideration to possible extraterrestrial origins. When word of the curriculum became public, the Air Force in 1970 issued a statement to the effect that the book was outdated and cadets instead were being informed of the Condon Report's negative conclusion. U.S. Air Force Regulation 200-2. Air Force Regulation 200-2, issued in 1953 and 4, defined an unidentified flying object, UFOB, as any airborne object which by performance, aerodynamic characteristics, or unusual features does not conform to any presently known aircraft or missile type, or which cannot be positively identified as a familiar object. The regulation also said UFOBs were to be investigated as a possible threat to the security of the United States and to determine technical aspects involved. The regulation went on to say that it is permissible to inform news media representatives on UFOBs when the object is positively identified as a familiar object, but added, for those objects which are not explainable, only the fact that ATIC, Air Technical Intelligence Center, will analyze the data is worthy of release due to many unknowns involved. Talk about nonsensical wording. Of course, if there's some secret Air Force idea or airplane or object that's part of a military organization, you think they're going to explain it? Anyway, Project Blue Book. Main article on Project Blue Book. J. Allen Hynek, a trained astronomer who served as a scientific advisor for Project Blue Book, was initially skeptical of UFO reports, but eventually came to the conclusion that many of them could not be satisfactorily explained, and was highly critical of what he described as the cavalier disregard by Project Blue Book of the principles of scientific investigation. Leaving government work, he founded the privately funded CUFOs, to whose work he devoted the rest of his life. Other private groups studying the phenomena included the MUFON, a grassroots organization whose investigators' handbooks go into great detail on the documentation of alleged UFO sightings. Like Hynek, Jacques Vallée, a scientist and prominent UFO researcher, has pointed to what he believes is the scientific deficiency of most UFO research, including government studies. He complains of the mythology and cultism often associated with the phenomena, but alleges that several hundred professional scientists, a group both he and Hynek have termed the Invisible College, continue to study UFOs in private. Scientific studies. The study of UFOs has received little support in mainstream scientific literature. Official studies ended in the U.S. in December 1969, following the statement by the government scientist Edward Condon that further study of UFOs could not be justified on grounds of scientific advancement. The Condon report and its conclusions were endorsed by the National Academy of Scientists, of which Condon was a member. On the other hand, the scientific review by the UFO subcommittee of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Aeronautics AIAA disagreed with Condon's conclusion, noting that at least 30% of the cases studied remained unexplained and that scientific benefit might be gained by continued study. Critics argue that all UFO evidence is anecdotal and can be explained as prosaic natural phenomena. Defenders of UFO research counter that knowledge of observational data, other than what is reported in the popular media, is limited in the scientific community and further study is needed. Now, I've read some of these things when I looked into them as a little boy, and a lot of it is anecdotal and it's not supported with evidence or anything. And it's just kind of like best-selling books or popular for the moment. But there's nothing there, when you think about it, that you could actually go in and double-check. No official government investigation has ever publicly concluded that UFOs are indisputably real, physical objects, extraterrestrial in origin, or of concern to national defense. These same negative conclusions also have been found in studies that were highly classified for many years, such as the UK's Flying Saucer Working Party, Project Condon, the US CIA-sponsored Robertson Panel, the US military investigation into the green fireballs from 1948 to 1951, and the Battelle Memorial Institute study for the USAF from 52 to 55, Project Blue Book, Special Report number 14. Some public government reports have acknowledged the possibility of physical reality of UFOs, but have stopped short of proposing extraterrestrial origins, though not dismissing the possibility entirely. Examples are the Belgian military investigation into large triangles over the airspace in 1989 and 1991, and the 2009 Uruguayan Air Force study conclusion. Some private studies have been neutral in their conclusions, but argued that the inexplicable court cases call for continued scientific study. Examples are the Sturrock panel study of 1998 and the 1970 AIAA review of the Condon report. United States. U.S. investigations into the UFOs include, according to the UFO researcher Timothy Good, he received a letter from the Army's Director of Counterintelligence confirming the existence of the Interplanetary Phenomena Unit. Good claims the letter shows that the IPU was established by the U.S. Army sometime in the 40s and disestablished sometime during the late 1950s. Project Blue Book, previously Project Sign and Project Grudge, conducted by the USAF from 47 to 69. Secret U.S. Army Air Force Project Twinkle investigation into green fireballs, 48 to 51. Ghost rockets investigations by the Swedish, UK, US, and Greek militaries. The secret CIA Office of Scientific Investigation and Study in 52 and 53. Secret CIA Robertson Panel. The secret USAF Project Blue Book Special Report 14. The Battelle Memorial Institute. The Brookings Report commissioned by NASA. The Public Condon Committee. The Private Internal RAND Corporation Study. The Private Sturrock Panel. The Secret Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, which was funded from 2007 to 2012. An Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, a continuing program with the United States Office of Naval Intelligence, which was also acknowledged in 2017. Thousands of documents released under FOIA also indicate that many U.S. intelligence agencies collected and still collect information on UFOs. These agencies include the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, FBI, CIA, National Security Agency, NASA, as well as military intelligence agencies of the U.S. Army and U.S. Navy, in addition to the Air Force. The investigation of UFOs has also attracted many civilians who also in the U.S. forms research groups such as Nicholas